had to adjust my microphone there. I know I'm usually adjusting yours, but I had to adjust mine because for whatever reason, my back has been tweaked. I have to keep on moving around.
Did you do like Chance and go to the trampoline park? Have you been doing flips on the trampoline, honey?
I don't know, maybe in my sleep or something like that, but I have this little tweak just in the small part of my back that I get every once in a while. And it's like I have to keep on moving around in order to get it comfortable.
Adjust your mic to tweak your back.
Yeah, because of my tweaked back, I've had to adjust the microphone. How are you, fellow streakers?
Welcome to our streaking podcast.
Welcome to one of the things that we believe is that as you get older, the pain that you have when you wake up in the morning will be with you the rest of your days.
Yep. Just stays with you.
See, when you're young, it doesn't necessarily work that way. You wake up with a pain and you work it out through the day. When you're older, I won't say old. I don't know if we're old yet.
You just become more friendly with your pain.
More friendly with your pain.
It stays with you more
stay with you
longer.
What
is my joke? When you're under 40, welcome to 40, where you work out twice as hard for half the results.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I felt like. I'm like, I got to work twice as hard.
What Ace can do, Ace is our 19-year-old, 20-year-old. What Ace can do in 15 minutes and burn the calories and get in shape in 15 minutes takes me 4 days.
Yes.
So, fellow streakers, hopefully you are fantastic. That's one of the reasons why we have a streak of run or walk.
Every day.
Walk
6 days a week.
once a day, 6 days a week. How are you? Hopefully you guys have been fantastic and enjoyed the last show. We enjoyed doing it. We are still in the month of February. Does it seem is February dragging on for you, or is it going pretty quickly?
I think February is such an interesting month because it's the shortest month of the year, but the weather seems to be challenging and it can seem much longer than what it is.
Agreed.
And this year, usually I love February in Georgia because it's when the daffodils start blooming, which they are blooming. However, it has been rainy and cold.
Fun little tangent story.
Longer.
Jamie bought some bulbs that she was going to plant in the yard. And for whatever reason, we had forgotten the bulbs. For
2 years, people. I left them in my basement for 2 years. And I planted them this year, earlier in the year.
Well, I remember you brought them up and you're like, I'm just going to plant them.
I don't know what happened to me, but I couldn't throw them away. But I'm like, I'm going to plant them. And I planted them. And as I'm planting them, literally, it was like Day of the Dead. They were just crushing in my hands as I would push them into the soil. And the whole time I'm thinking, why am I doing this? This is the dumbest thing ever. But there was something inside of me that's like, you bought these daffodils. You left them in your basement to die. You're going to bury them properly. And you know what?
You gave the daffodils a proper burial.
I gave them a proper burial. And like 4 of them have come up. I don't know if I'll get any flowers. I've got the greenery, but 4 of those.
And you walked out because they're right outside our front door. And you walked out and you thought, Jeff, they've bloomed.
Anyway,
that is fantastic. Funny. And maybe that's, the care and concern that you've given those daffodils to bury them in the proper way is the reason why they're like, we'll give her a little bit. We'll give her some flowers.
We'll give her a little bit of, here you go. Thanks for burying us properly.
As we talk about relationships, coming back from that tangent and everything that we were talking about there, as we talk about relationships, we were talking about family for the last couple of podcasts. And now
we talked about marriage at first, kind of how streaking can work with marriage. And then we talked a little bit about families and what you can do in streaking in your families. Mm-hmm. And now we're going to talk about kind of friendships.
Yeah.
And how streaking can help in
friendships, business relationships, mm-hmm. A little bit more general relationships. We had started out also in the very first podcast talking about the love languages.
Yeah.
And how, each of the love languages is something that can be a B statement of who I want to be. And then what do I need to do in order to be that person, or recognizing your love language. And because I want to be a person who responds to, and what is it? What do I say in my B statement? I say, I want to be a faithful, devoted, awesome husband. That's my B statement. Faithful, devoted, and awesome husband. I don't know what awesome is, but I just figured that's the word that can
awesome. That's great.
Well, thank you, hon.
You're welcome.
I'm aspiring to be awesome. I don't know what awesome is, but part of awesome might be learning your love language and doing whatever I can to respond to that love language. Mm-hmm. And so which is where we talked a little bit about my streak to contact you at least one time daily. I don't know if that's your love language or not, but
I love
hopefully
it.
it's been working out.
I love it.
And then to spend one-to-one time with you at least once weekly. I was actually speaking with one of our streakers a couple of days ago, and she had listened to the podcast about you and I and the streak that I had to spend at least one-to-one time with you. And she was mentioning that, because of the area, because of where they are currently in life, it's difficult for them to have a quote unquote date night.
Mm-hmm.
And as we talked, that's one of the reasons why when I set the streak that I did, it wasn't to have a date night once a week. It was just to have one-on-one time. Because there are those times where it gets a little bit crazy, and trying to figure out how to get the date night in amidst karate and ballet and school activities and church responsibilities and everything else gets a little bit crazy. However, I don't want to miss having one-to-one time with you.
Right.
Anyway.
The other thing that I love, and this is one of the things that I love about having a streak, is that, again, and we talked about this a little bit before, quality time is important, and I don't want to dismiss it, but it is okay to recognize that quality starts somewhere. And just by doing, again, this idea that you're doing. So not that we don't ever have a date night, but I don't know that saying, well, right now, like you had said, there's certain times of life that saying we're going to have a date night is not laughably simple.
No.
Like that may be, you're like, that's reaching for the stars right now. But being able to spend some level of one-on-one time together, whether that's, okay, we're just going to watch this movie together, or we're going to literally just talk for 5 minutes, just you and I. It's the idea of bringing it to this conscious place where you're looking for that opportunity to spend that one-on-one time. And the looking for it, again, I brought this up in a past podcast, the looking for it gives you the opportunity to see it more clearly in the moment and take that opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's what I love that streaking does. So by setting a streak to say, I'm going to have one-on-one time, you start to look for opportunities to have that one-on-one time.
Yeah.
And it starts to change. The thing that's difficult sometimes is the patience it takes in the slowness of that, sometimes recognizing that the doing is doing.
Yeah.
It may not always be at the level that you hope that it would be all the time, or that we would want it to be all the time, but that's life. Things aren't always going to be at that optimal level all the time.
And so I wanted to riff on that for just a second, because you had brought that up before and something hit my brain, and it didn't happen in the last podcast, but I want it to happen in this one, because as we talk about friendship and how to have friendships or how to improve your relationship with friendships, I'll be the first to admit, I do not do a great job at this. I look at my brother. He is phenomenal at maintaining friendships. My brother and his wife, I think, are phenomenal at that. I don't do it as well. What I see in them, though, is that they do it consistently.
Yes.
They are consistently reaching out to their friends, and that may be on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. When we talk about streaking, as you and I have researched streaks and looked at streaks, we say that a streak is either daily, weekly, or monthly. And I would say there isn't a month that goes by. I'd have to ask my brother this, but there's not a month that goes by that he doesn't reach out to past friends. And when I say past friends, I mean like people in high school that he knew.
He reaches out and
he reaches out and talks with them. And I believe that in and of itself can be a streak, is contact at least one friend either monthly or weekly. And the time frame of monthly or weekly sometimes is what makes it laughably simple.
Yes, now, the time frame can make it laughably simple.
Can make it laughably simple, because it's, contact one monthly, contact at least one friend monthly. I look at that and say, well, you could do that via Facebook, you could do that via, I don't know, Twitter, Instagram, any of those places. Text messages, email.
Even LinkedIn, and even some of these business forums, you could reach out to someone personally through those.
So that's where I wanted to go to. You said that the ship needs to move forward, and it's not always the quality that you're looking to do, it's the consistency.
The consistency. And through that consistency, you will get quality. But I feel like sometimes what holds us back is this idea that it has to be quality every single time.
Yes.
And so we can get nervous to start or to keep going, because it's not always quality.
Yeah.
And recognizing that quality comes on a foundation of consistency. As you are more consistent, your quality will improve.
When I was listening to, so in sales, I do another podcast actually for Franklin Covey called Helping Clients Succeed. It's a Franklin Covey podcast that I do for the sales, and Helping Clients Succeed is our sales methodology. I was listening to one of the videos that we had produced in Helping Clients Succeed, and it was about prospecting. And in this video, the individual who was speaking said, almost this point, look, if you're not going to do quality prospecting, you may as well not do it at all. And I believe that stops a lot of salespeople from significant success, is because they look at it and say, well, first of all, prospecting is hard enough on its own.
Right.
I mean, reaching out to someone new and striving diligently to start some type of a relationship with them, to even ask the question, should we be talking? Mm-hmm. I admire sales professionals for being able to do that.
Right. I do too.
So then to be said, well, if you don't do it well, you probably shouldn't be doing it.
That's a lot of pressure on people. Yeah. And that's what I guess I'm saying is, and doing it well is doing it well like all the time. Mm-hmm. You can't have a bad day. You can't have and so sometimes it's easier for people to say, you know what, I'm just not going to do it at all.
Yeah.
Until I can do it well. And that just doesn't happen a lot. And then not doing it consistently affects our ability to be able to do it well. And so that's what I guess I want to get to. And the reason I'm so passionate about this is because I feel like this has stopped me from doing things. I want to do it well. I want to do it perfectly. I want to do it
whatever
as well as this
like,
person,
right?
or whatever perfect idea I have in my head. And so I get nervous. And I love this that we're talking about friends. Sometimes I'll talk myself out of contacting a friend. Well, it's busy. Well, it's a different time zone. They're there. I'm probably waking them up. Oh, I can talk myself out of doing these things. And a streak helps me to just do it. Just do it.
Look past that. Say
it's super small.
It's super small. It's simple.
It's just doing it. And I have had personal experiences because of a streak that I have to reach out. Mm-hmm. And that's why I was so passionate about the other day, is because I'd had a personal experience where, because I had a streak, I reached out and that person came back, and I had an opportunity to develop that relationship that I would not have had if I hadn't had the streak, because I wouldn't have taken that just little tiny step that I took, that I was just like, just send that little text, just see how they're doing. Mm-hmm. And it opened
really
up. Now, a lot of times I'll send that text and nothing happens. Right. Or they'll be like, oh, hey, how you doing? Hi. And it doesn't go past that. But the consistency allows for opportunities. It allows us to see things that we would have missed otherwise. Right.
What I hear you saying is your streak to do at least one thing for a friend daily, and that could be any number of small little things, is what has helped you to get past the idea that I've got to do it perfectly.
Yes. That I have to do it perfectly, or I have to be it has to be done at the right time, or just all of these little things that can kind of creep up that can stop us.
And that's what I look at, speaking of prospecting and sales and really any business relationship, networking. I mean, you don't have to be in sales. You can be just an individual that wants to network. I believe that's why LinkedIn is something that is so significant, is because people want to network together. They do want to network and form a network and share, information with one another, but also establish relationships with each other. So if I had a streak to, reach out, here's the thing I was thinking is to initiate one new contact either daily or weekly in LinkedIn. I'm now building my network and my relationship with those. The other streak that I can look at is I'm going to, as we mentioned before, reach out to at least one person daily that's one of my friends or one of my contacts or something like that. One of the streaks that I admire, Brian Chipoletti, who is the president of Guardian Protection Services, he is one of the persons that endorsed the book, the streaking book, and he is an awesome streaker. I mean, that guy, one of his laughably small streaks is 100 push-ups a day.
For reals?
Yes.
Wow.
And
that's
he keeps
not
that
laughably simple to me.
No,
wow.
Not to me either.
That's proof that everyone needs to choose their own laughably simple.
Their own laughably simple. We laugh at it because it's so hard.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Another streak that he has is to send at least one thank you note weekly to a friend or a contact.
I love that one.
And it's a handwritten, he says it's just a handwritten note, and I just have to do it. And he and I were talking the other day. And it was neat because I got one from him.
Oh.
I got a thank you note from him. And it's really, it means a lot to me to have him write me a thank you note. I mean, this is a very successful individual, someone who has led Guardian Protection Services through some very difficult times with COVID. I mean, Guardian Protection Services is a security company where they sell home security and also wiring for entertainment services or home network or smart home, getting your whole home to work together. And he's just done phenomenal in building a team and helping them really move forward. And to get a thank you note from him meant the world to me. And I knew it was his streak. Do you see what I mean? But it meant a lot to me that I would be one of the persons that he would reach out to with his streak.
Right.
Because I think sometimes people can dismiss the streak and say, well, it really doesn't count because you're only doing it to fulfill the streak. You're only streaking for streaking's sake.
Right. But that's not true. I've been thinking about, I have a friend who reaches out often. I don't know that it's a streak, but she's done it consistently enough that I've noticed it. But she reaches out for walking and she's likes
so great.
Walking, and she'll send out text messages to sometimes 10, 15 people. I'm walking this week. These are the 2 days I'm walking or the 3 days I'm walking. Here's where it is. Anybody that wants to come. And what I love about it is that some days she has a lot of response. 5 or 6, 7, 8 people will show up to go walking. Some days it's one person. But she continues to reach out. And I've loved the way that it makes me feel in that I know that if I can go, she'll be there and she'll be doing it. But also I know that if I can't go today, she'll be doing it next week and I can be able to go with her next week. And I love that her going isn't dependent upon the response. But even in that, the response from the people that she sends it out to.
Can I riff in here real quick? Because what I love about what you're saying is it's not on the accomplishment on which she puts the focus.
Right.
It's on the invitation.
It's on the invitation.
And I love that as a streak. Send out one invitation weekly to go walking. Mm-hmm. And I'll be here. Anyone's welcome to join me. And I'm going to send it out to 10, 15, how many ever people. And whoever shows. And if no one shows, I'm still going to be walking. And she has credibility because every time she sent the invitation, right, and you've shown up, she's there.
And we go walking. And I love that. I love that, and that ability to reach out and the way that it helps us to stay connected. And so I think that as I look at streaking and what it can do, there was another one so the 5 love languages, there's one that was words of affirmation. Uh-huh. And we talked about this a couple podcasts ago about one of the ideas that I had read about was that you could do words of affirmation for your spouse, but one of the streaks was to say something nice about your spouse to someone else. And as I was thinking about this words of affirmation in regards to like friendships, I thought that would be a great way to work on maybe gossiping. We talk about how you can't set don't streaks, don't streaks don't work. Yeah. So to set a streak of I'm not going to gossip, that's not really one that works.
How many days in a row have I not gossiped?
But could you set a streak to I'm going to say something positive about someone else to someone else? Not necessarily that person has to be in the room, but to speak kindly.
I believe that right there is revolutionary.
Of a friend.
I mean, to think about it and to do what you just said. I'm going to say something positive about, and I'm just going to make up some names here. I'm going to say something positive about John to Roger.
Right. Without John knowing, but just making a conscious effort to say something positive about somebody else.
How would that change our world if everyone, or many people, maybe not even everyone, but many people did that?
And the thing that's amazing is it would start by changing you. And makes me think of that Michael Jackson song.
Oh, yeah. What's the one? I'm the man in the mirror.
Yeah, I'm going to start with me.
I'm looking at the
You're going to break out into song.
Nice.
Yeah,
and it's awful. Everyone's like, okay,
close to
stop.
Michael
Stop right
Jackson,
now.
really
No, oh,
close.
yeah, right. That is sarcasm in the extreme,
Yes.
honey.
But I love how his song is true. I mean, when we want to change the world, where do you start? You start by changing yourself. And if
Thank
we
you.
were
I will
able
now have
to,
that song in my head the rest of the day.
everyone
It's
will.
a great song.
Everybody go listen to the little MJ.
Yeah, little MJ.
MJ
Woo.
in February. Michael Jackson. Let's bring it on. But I thought, isn't that amazing how we could really strengthen our relationships with our spouse and then our children and then our friends, that all of these things can come into play by setting a simple streak where I'm going to say something kind about someone to someone else daily
or weekly.
and that could be something
whatever's
that you
laughably simple for you.
whatever's laughably simple for you, and it could be done in a text, it could be done on Facebook, it can be done in so many ways. I love that.
What I also think about when you say that is not ever going to be a habit.
No.
I mean, you got to be pretty conscious about that particular thing. It's not something that you're going to see as being automatic.
Nope.
Yet so powerful when you do it consistently and repetitively.
And I agree with you completely. It'll never be automatic, but I do believe that the more you do it, you will see greater opportunity. You'll be able to see.
Now you just said something. Wow, that blows my mind as well. You will have greater opportunity.
Because you'll see more things. And that's really what I guess we were saying when we were like, maybe we don't want these things to be automatic. Maybe automatic is not where we want to go. We want to be intentional because it allows us to see more clearly.
That's work, honey.
It is work. Sometimes it's hard work, but a lot of times it can start with laughably simple.
And believing that the laughably simple will
work. The work is in the consistency.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to set a streak around. Look at some of these things of acts of service or words of affirmation or quality time. How can you set a streak around something like that would improve the relationships that are around you?
Because I want to be a person who improves the world. I mean, you can have a very broad B statement on this one.
Right. I want to be a person who sees people as individuals.
Yeah.
I want to be a person who notices people and who uplifts and brings hope to the world through being kind, one person at a time.
Wow. As you work on your relationships, if there's a streak that you think about that you'd love to share with us, we'd love to hear from you. I'm Jeffrey, Jeffrey, at streakingmastery.com.
I'm Jamie, Jami, at streakingmastery.com.
Until we talk again, good luck with your streaks and make great friendships out there. I mean, there is so much that can be done with just simple things done every day.
Every day.
All right, well, until we talk again,
keep streaking.
Keep streaking.
That make the life we live worth living. Among the rush, do one push up, become a better you. It's the small and simple things that make you grow into what you're hoping.